Good morning. Welcome to Interwatch July 13th. We have several items we're going to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about aggravated robbery and also talk about the AAA Traffic Safety Silver Award that was presented to the Wichita Police Department. Then I've also invited Lieutenant Hunt and Sergeant Yarberry. They're going to be coming and talking about some assignments that we've been working in the Patrol East and Patrol West Bureau and just the hard work that the Wichita Police Department is doing to help keep this community safe. So the first case is 47421. That's the aggravated robbery of a commercial house occurred in the 1900 block of East Pawnee last night about 9 p.m. Wednesday, July 12th, approximately 9 p.m., officers were dispatched to a robbery in progress call at the Dollar General in the 1900 block of East Pawnee. When officers arrived, they contacted a 22-year-old female employee. She stated that two unknown suspects had entered the store. One of the suspects pointed a handgun at her and were demanding money. At the same time, the second suspect began to collect money. Both suspects fled the store on foot. Officers quickly responded to this call, and in doing so, they located and arrested two suspects. They were both booked into jail for aggravated robbery. The arrestees are going to be Kayvon J. Thomas, 26-year-old, spelling Keyvon. He was arrested and booked for aggravated robbery, and was also booked for a previous robbery under 17C 41085. The second arrest was Johnny H. Washington, a 24-year-old male. That's Johnnny, and he also was booked for aggravated robbery. So great work by the officers coming into the area and their diligent work in arresting these two individuals on this case.
Charlie,
yeah.
Connecting case for Kayvon, where was that?
It was a Dairy Queen on North Rock, I believe.
Do you know when that happened?
I don't have the date when it happened. Yeah, yep. But that's the case number 41085.
And Washington wasn't involved in the Dairy Queen or in the other case.
He was not booked, so I can't say, speculate if perhaps he was, but he was not booked. They had information with Kayvon Thomas. Okay. Also want to talk about just some great work being done by the Wichita Police Department in regards to traffic safety. That is something that is a high priority for the Wichita Police Department to keep the roads safe for those that travel into our city, those that commute to work, those that just for pleasure. But traffic safety is very important to us, and the Wichita Police Department was recognized with the AAA Traffic Safety Silver Award, and it was for demonstrating strong, sustained efforts in addressing local traffic safety issues. Some of the items of why Wichita was recognized was for having a traffic safety committee comprised of representatives from various organizations and meets bi-monthly to cooperatively ID traffic safety problems and formulate solutions for those problems. So again, it goes back to working with our community stakeholders, working with our community members, and making sure this city stays safe. Also, we were recognized for enforcing a policy that requires all department members and department employees to wear a seatbelt in city vehicles. We're also recognized for our participation and support for the highly successful seatbelt usage program in high schools and middle schools called SAFE. We're also recognized for traffic safety education work with the neighborhood-oriented traffic enforcement, also known as NOTE projects, utilizing a database of traffic complaints to target enforcement in high crash areas that have speeding issues, and for drug education through education and efforts through the use of our K9 units, and also recognized for enforcement for the many special enforcement efforts that we make, such as seatbelt assignments, DUI enforcement.
Charlie, is this the first time WPD has been recognized?
I don't know. I don't know if we've been recognized with the AAA. You gentlemen know? I don't know if we've received this award previous, but we are excited to receive this. as like I said earlier, traffic safety is important, and we continue to work collaboratively with our stakeholders to make sure that our streets are safe. All right, well now I'm going to invite Sergeant Yarberry and Lieutenant Hunt. They're going to come and talk about some great work being done by the Wichita Police Department and our East and West bureaus, and kind of why these assignments started and the impact that they're making in keeping this community safe. So, gentlemen.
Good morning. My name is Sergeant Steve Yarberry, and I am currently assigned to the Patrol East Bureau in Community Policing. I'm here to discuss briefly with you about a project that we have on West Kellogg addressing criminal activity at the motel hotels. In June of 2016, we recognized a high number of calls for service at these businesses, not specific hotels, but motels and hotels on West Kellogg, basically going west of West Street. We also had received information from other area businesses of complaints of drug activity, prostitution, human trafficking, financial crimes, and overall disturbing their businesses. What we did first about that time is created a survey. We distributed it to all the businesses, not just the hotels and motels, but all the businesses on West Kellogg to see what they perceived was the main focus or problems of criminal activity in that area. We received, I believe we handed out 39 surveys, received back 11, compiled the list, did some crime data collection, and then formulated a plan. In September of 2016, we put together what we call the Motel Interdiction Team. That team consisted of 2 supervisors, officers from 3rd shift, 4th shift, community policing, and the SCAT units of Patrol West. Our main goals were, number 1, reduce calls for service, create a safe environment for all businesses on Kellogg, and to educate business owners on how to identify this criminal activity and report it. The officers would, at night or even during the day, would go out and conduct patrol activities, selective enforcement in these locations, and due to that, just a few stats. Since this program began, we have made 215 arrests on this West Kellogg program. We recovered 44 stolen vehicles, 25 stolen tags, and several other things. I just don't have the arrests broke down. Now, there are 2 officers that are assigned to community policing full-time, but their job right now is to collect data daily and put together reports that they forward out to the other members that are on this interdiction team of the previous activities from the past 24 hours of what individuals were stopped, what individuals were arrested, where at, etc. We've also partnered up with the Sedgwick County Drug Court. They have individuals that go into their system that are put on probation through their drug court, and they have the ability to map them out of certain areas once they have these drug convictions while they're on probation. Prior to our contact with them, the only areas that people could get mapped out of was North Broadway and South Broadway. They have now also included West Kellogg, and if any individuals are caught on West Kellogg that are involved in drug activity that are part of that drug court, we contact the folks with their Sedgwick County probation. They create probation violation warrants, and they can actually be charged, or their probation can be revoked just for being in that mapped out area. We currently right now are in a phase, we're still doing enforcement, we're in an education phase that the 2 officers that are assigned to community policing during the day have created a training program that includes a PowerPoint. They're going out and training managers and owners of the motel hotels who in turn are going to be training their employees of how to identify the criminal activity, people that come in that are setting up shops of drugs, selling drugs, using drugs. We've had several cases where people are setting up shops, doing counterfeiting money, counterfeiting checks that we've found. So we're in an education phase of teaching them how to identify that and report it to us. There's one component to this is the city of Wichita has a nuisance ordinance that was passed some time back. That nuisance ordinance is looked at on all these high calls for service, and if it fits the criteria, we're utilizing that ordinance to gain compliance from these businesses. Does anybody have any questions about our program currently?
Sir, what's been the response from those businesses? What are they saying, and how are they reacting to this program?
So far, it's very positive. At first, there was some of the motel hotels that were resistant to come in, for us to come in and force correction, but we're wanting to partner with them because these businesses, the motels and all the businesses along Kellogg, are affected by a high crime rate. And so I think that they're starting to work with us more. They've realized that we're not their enemy. We're there to help them and to teach them how to identify the criminal activity and report it to us. So yes, there was some resistance, but I think we're making a positive impact.
Sergeant Yarberry, you were talking about how you guys sent out these surveys. Was that in June when you guys sent them out and then created that plan?
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned all those arrests, 215 arrests, 44 stolen vehicles recovered, 25 stolen tags recovered. What's the department's reaction to these numbers and these results?
I believe it's good. Anytime you take a team and do selective enforcement in an area, of course your arrests are going to go up, and the recovery of stolen vehicles, which we knew there was a lot of stolen vehicles show up at these hotels. But because we have a presence of police there, and we're catching people, and we're getting felony charges through the Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office, these people, we keep from getting repeat offenders, keep coming back in the cycle. We put a stop to that cycle. So if we do our job and do the enforcement, get people charged, keep them away, the bad element from Kellogg, get the owners of the businesses to work with us, learn how to identify, contact us, then it's going to open it up that it's a safer place. We have people that are not from Wichita that come into Wichita, and where's the first hotels they see on Kellogg. But then when they pull in there and you got people set up a drug shop or prostitution, human trafficking, that doesn't look very well. So what we're doing is we're cleaning out the criminal element so these people, not only from Wichita or out of Wichita, can come into Wichita and utilize the businesses and feel safe doing it.
Is this going to be an ongoing program, Sergeant?
I don't know how long we're going to do it. It's been going on here about a year. We still are actively working it, and like I say, right now, the 2 officers that are assigned to community policing out west that do this full time as far as the data collection and putting the information out to officers, they're in an education phase now, which could take some time because they're working on training all these employees.
Sergeant,
Okay.
can you spell your name?
Last name is Yarberry.
And I think you also mentioned, obviously, North Broadway, South Broadway, there was that mapping area. So you've been trying to clean out those areas as well as the Kellogg corridor. What's your main message to the criminals about getting out of town? Get out of here?
Well, if you come into these areas that we're targeting and focusing, we're going to catch you, okay? It may take us some time, but as soon as we get all the businesses on board to identify and report these people when they come into the motels to rent rooms, etc., and report it to us, we're there, we're going to catch you, okay? Some of our problem on West Kellogg also is we have, on the north side of Kellogg, we have a high retail area. Walmart, Sam's, several businesses there that are just across the street. So they go to motels, set up shop. They have retail businesses that they can get food or whatever that they run across the street. There's also a high number of shoplifts occur at some of those retail businesses due to the criminal element that's staying across the street. So I think that what we've seen is our targeting the motels has also reduced our crime and our retail business.
All right. I've also invited Lieutenant Hunt, like I said, to come and speak about a similar program that has been working in our Patrol East Bureau. And just like we have specific community policing officers for each beat, because each beat is unique, each beat has different situations that they have to work through. Same thing goes with each bureau. So I've also invited Lieutenant Hunt to come and talk about the program in the Patrol East Bureau and how it's a little bit different than Patrol West Bureau, but how it's making a positive impact on crime as well. So, Lieutenant Hunt.
Thank you. Lieutenant Ron Hunt, HUNT. Yeah, so much the same as Patrol West Bureau, we initially began to see all of our statistics rise in regards to auto larcenies, auto thefts, burglaries. So what I decided to do is I reached out to Patrol West in regards to their motel team and how they were operating. And I think, truly because of the enforcement that they had done on Patrol West Bureau, as well as getting that area mapped, we began to see this influx of individuals moving to the Patrol East Bureau to our motels. And in fact, on several occasions, we would actually see some of these people drive from a Motel West location straight to Patrol East and check in at a motel. So again, we began to see this problem. We knew that we needed to do something about it, so I reached out to them. So in March of this year, March 15th, is when Patrol East actually kicked off our motel interdiction team. And initially, I had a 6-officer unit that was assigned to it, and that was a 24-hour basis around the clock to include a couple of patrol officers that work during the day, 2 SCAT officers, which are our Special Community Action Team, and then some of our overnight personnel. Because of reassignments and everything, I currently only have 2 officers that do it on a permanent basis right now, but at some point I will raise my numbers back up. But since we kicked this program off, Patrol East has had 112 arrests. We've seized over 5.5 ounces of meth, about 17 grams of marijuana, cocaine. We've recovered 3 stolen vehicles, 4 firearms, and issued several citations for violations. Again, as we started off, we went in and we contacted all of these motels. We initially had about 7 that we were initially going to focus most of our attention on. And I directed my personnel that any call that came out at one of these motels, I wanted you guys to respond, no matter what the call was. Because I think, as we all know, one thing, like a domestic violence, can lead to something else. And so I wanted our personnel to be responsible for that and to take ownership of it, and they did so. And so with working with these motels, after meeting and speaking with them, we had a lot of great feedback. Certainly, just as Sergeant Yarberry said, there's always a few who are not as likely or willing to work with law enforcement because that's their clientele. And so if we hurt them, then we hurt their business, which is not our intention. But certainly you're going to see something like that. And I think, just one example, in May of this year, working with the motels and providing information to them and then providing information to us. I don't know if you remember, but we did catch a homicide suspect out of Riley County at one of our motels on the east side of town. And again, that's cooperation and sharing information, and them willing to call us and provide us with information. And so we're certainly grateful for that, and we want to continue our partnership with them so we can clean up our motels as well and help their business, and so they can make more money. Yes?
I had a question about that.
Absolutely.
In that incident, someone did call from a motel that they were trying to check in, but that person did leave. Was it from the west side of town that this person was trying to check into the previous motel, not the one where he was caught?
Yes, yeah, that was information that, yeah, he had tried to check into one of the West motels, and I don't know the circumstances around why he wasn't allowed to stay there, but he drove to the east side of town and checked in, and so certainly that's how we were able to get him.
Lieutenant, you said how many stolen vehicles were recovered?
We've only recovered 3 stolen within the property and traffic stops. Now, I mean, certainly we've had some others that have been able to get away from us, but yeah, you know, and again, this is just in a 4-month time period. So I'm very happy with our statistics and what we're trying to do, so we can do our part and make this community safe and get rid of some of the bad element.
And the same question I asked Sergeant Jarberry, what is the message to criminals? Obviously, West Kellogg is getting cleaned up, East Kellogg, you guys have an enforcement. What's your main message telling them?
Well, again, our message is, you know, we don't want you. There are a lot of good citizens within our community. They want to be here, and they're abiding the law. And, you know, if you're going to be in this town, you need to follow the law. And if you don't want to do that, you know, then we will do our part. We'll take you to jail, but we are going to do everything that we can to clean up our city and make it safe for everyone who lives or visits Wichita.
Lieutenant, are the hotels you were concentrating on kind of the same general area?
Yeah, most of them are. They're along the east corridor area. But again, I've allowed my team the flexibility, and certainly, so they have responded or followed individuals to up to 15 hotels that we have done enforcement at or communicated with. So we're up to 15, but they mainly focus on about 7. Which are the ones along the Kellogg corridor.
Can you tell us, like, between streets?
Probably, let's see, about Woodlawn east along Kellogg to the county road, and basically over to, you know, Greenwich area, just in that general area. That's where most of our enforcement is. But again, you know, my personnel, if they need to go to one of the others, I do want them to be more proactive and contacting some of these other motels as well, because we can see the problem there. So, any additional questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have today. We appreciate everybody coming in and tuning in with us, and just some great work being done by the Wichita Police Department. We take pride in our community, and we'll continue to work hard to keep this community safe.